All right, everybody, welcome to episode 2 of Idea Orgy. I'm with the same guest from episode 1, Ryan Daugherty, and we're here. So, Ryan, you want to start off the conversation?
Hey Steve, good to be here again. Still here, I never left. I live here now. We're in Atlanta, Georgia, just kind of shooting the shit about things that are interesting. Last time we talked about movies as inspiration for just how to be better people, how to live the life that you want to lead. And so yesterday, actually, right after we recorded episode 1, we watched both Sleepers and Rounders, which were Steve's picks for some of his. They're in his top 10 of all time movies. And actually, if you want to describe, you want to start with Sleepers, maybe?
Yeah, so Sleepers is a group of kids. They're growing up in Hell's Kitchen, New York, and they end up going to jail and going through because they accidentally kill a guy. And they have to go through the juvenile detention program for youth. And
Kevin Bacon's there, and it's pretty great.
yeah. So they end up getting mistreated by the guards, and then it's kind of like a revenge story of what they do, of how they end up using the whole system and their whole network that they grew up around with to turn things back around and deliver karma without spoiling too much. It's a really good movie.
Who doesn't love a good revenge story, right?
Exactly. Everyone loves to see things come full circle. And with Rounders, it's about a rounder is a term for those who make their living at playing cards, and they make their rounds at different little poker games. And this guy, he loses everything to this Russian mobster.
This guy, man.
Yeah, this guy that's played by this guy. This guy played by Matt Damon, Jason Bourne himself. He loses everything, and then his friend gets out from jail, who was like a con man, or who went to jail for printing credit cards or distributing fake credit cards.
Played by Ed Norton.
He's
hilarious.
Yeah, and then it kind of describes. The movie shows Matt Damon's character's comeback story, and it's actually pretty enticing. They use a lot of poker slang, and it's very rich about how you can learn about the ins and outs of poker, kind of from a movie perspective. So
I think at least from my take, seeing both of these for the first time yesterday, I kind of think the common thread between both of these movies is being part of a system and then finding the way to use the system to your advantage to come out on top when you were in a situation where you weren't really in the most favorable standing. You were kind of on the bottom of the totem pole. So
that's very good. I never thought about that, but yeah, he described it perfectly. Using the system to your advantage.
That's probably why you like them, like just subconsciously, but coming out on top, all the card lingo and like things that Matt Damon and John Malkovich and Ed Norton, all these like slang words that they're slinging around. It sounds cool, and it's like gangster on the surface, which I know you're all about that too. But like deeper meaning by the end of the movie, it's a success story, coming out on top, going for your dream. And it's Matt Damon. Who doesn't love Matt Damon, Exactly. The whole movie, I kept saying when he was in like tough situations, just like, come on, Matt Damon, just beat this guy up. You're Jason Bourne. What are you waiting for? You don't need cards.
Yeah, the crazy thing about Rounders is, well, first off, it's like a story of self sufficiency. So Matt Damon solves his own problems with cards. If he's in debt with something, then he just goes plays. He goes off on a run of like playing like 64 hours to help his friend get out of debt. And then
Yeah, that's crazy too. I never realized that people play that long. That's insane.
yeah.
That's maybe the only thing I didn't find realistic about the movie is no one ever looked tired at all. You could tell Matt Damon was sleeping pretty well in real
Yeah.
life.
And it's crazy how they talk about like numbers in ones places. Every time they reference that, it's just they mean thousands. So there's a point where Edward Norton rolls up a debt on Matt Damon's name at a one of the venues, and it's a week passes. It gathers interest. The week okay, the debt is $2,000, but after for every week it's not paid off, it gathers up a debt of 5,000, and she's like, it's five for every week, and they throw around these numbers like as if they're pennies, and it's like it's pretty cool to watch.
And the terminology they use there is the juice is running. So like you owe two, and the juice is running five a week from there on.
Yeah.
I was kind of thinking about too the term juice is running. You know, if you think about that in terms of your own life, the juice is always running, no matter what you're doing, no matter where you're going. You know, you've only got a limited amount of time on this earth, and you know the nature of our existence, our bodies. You know, we're always decaying. You know, we owe everything we have back to Mother Nature, back to the universe. The juice is running, and we're paying it now. So. Uh, That's another takeaway I took from Matt Damon just going for his dream. Because in the beginning, we see him kind of not playing cards anymore because his girlfriend talked him out of it. He was pursuing, you know, more responsible, quote, responsible things, but he wasn't truly happy. He wasn't being himself. And, yeah, the juice is running. So, carpe diem. Do what you got to do before time's up, and you got to pay back the bills, you know?
There's a dialogue between his lawyer professor, and Matt Damon, and then the lawyer talks about how he had to give up his path of becoming a rabbi to become a lawyer, and he's just like, what did he asked about? Matt Damon asks the character about making that choice, and that guy goes, and his professor goes, "What choice?" He's like, "We can't run from who we are. Our
Yeah.
destiny chooses us."
So good.
So good. It's so rich.
I don't know that actor, that old guy.
He was a
But
good actor, though.
yeah, we'll have to look him up. But Jamie,
Hey,
could you
could
pull
you
that up,
pull that
Jamie?
up?
Pull up a picture of him. We don't have a Jamie, but yeah, I think the common thread for me also in both of these movies, I really enjoyed the two I think oldest characters in both of them. In Sleepers, there's a guy he goes by the name of King Tony, who every scene he's in, he steals as well, just spouting off wisdom left and right. Now, you probably know some of his quotes better than I do, but also we looked up his actor name, but I completely forget it. We'll have to get Jamie to get on that too,
Yeah.
you know, retroactively. Um, but he says we were talking about this yesterday on the way to dinner last night. The way he says things, he's just got a confidence in his age. It's just so stylish the way he answers people. Just there's a point where he's meeting with a guy, telling him about, you know, within this boys' correctional facility home, how years ago his he's telling this other guy that his brother was killed in there. It wasn't pneumonia, and he knows the guy who did it. And there's just an art that's a heavy topic, but there's an art of the back and forth dialogue where the other guy that he's meeting with, the younger man, says something of respect to him, saying like, I really respect, how you play the game and how you run your empire. You go back a long ways, old man. And then he replies, kind of saying nothing in response, really, of substance, but just the way he says it. He says, "Old men always do," and there's just something really cool about that. Just the way he composes himself. Uh, Same thing with I don't know the name of the guy in Rounders, the old guy who's sort of a role model to Matt Damon. He's the guy who Steve mentioned who dropped out from being a rabbi, which crushed his family. Just the way that he, has a handle on life and who he wants to be, and just the way he handles himself and talks about it. I don't know, deep respect for old guys,
Yeah.
Hopefully one day when we're that old, we can be that cool.
Exactly. There's a scene in Rounders when the professor guy, Matt Damon, is trying to get some money from him. It's like his last resort. And then he ends up getting it. And then he goes, "You would do that for me?" And he goes, "When I left the yeshiva," his practice of trying to become a rabbi, he goes, "My mother was crushed, but she knew she was supportive of me doing me and trying to become a lawyer." And he goes, "To do that for someone is a mitzvah, and for that I owe." And then
such a good line.
Yeah, it's just such a good line. It's very, very powerful. And he ends up writing the check, and Matt Damon begins his comeback.
And he pays him back eventually.
Yeah, and he pays him back. Yeah. And it's such a beautiful story. It's very Hollywood, but it's very good.
Yeah. And I like that in a sense, that was a big pivotal moment in that guy's life, and this is a big pivotal moment in Matt Damon's life. But you think about, the takeaway from that is we all owe something, it's a gift. It's a gift in itself just to be here,
Oh, dude, that reminds me of the book I was reading. It's called Debt, and it's like, it explores all the different ways of how debt manifests itself across cultures and different time periods. And exactly as you said, just for existing, it's like we're kind of indebted to the universe.
Nice.
So,
I'm gonna have to read that.
Yeah, it's a good book. I didn't really kind of finish it. I need to finish it, but it's a good book. There's this, so it makes me think of Carl Sagan's quote, we are a way of the universe knowing itself. Like the universe, if the universe is like conscious, then we're like extensions of that consciousness for the universe to expand its consciousness.
Whoa.
Yeah. Cool. So that's so like I like put those two together. Like the debt that we owe the universe is that we have to contribute to the universe knowing itself.
Wow.
That's my interpretation of everything.
It's kind of like a cool way to think of yourself as like we're almost like, I don't know, another analogy is we're each individual cells of a larger, way cooler organism.
Yeah.
And it's our duty to, keep that running.
To contribute, yeah, exactly. To keep the superorganism, to stay alive.
The universe, because that's us.
Yeah. So yeah,
that's deep.
Sleepers and Rounders, man, really good movies.
Anything left to add? We kind of went on some tangents, but yeah, that's they're both really good movies. He really recommended them to me, and now I highly recommend them to us, the universe.
To the universe, to those who are listening. So if you want to expand some consciousness with then you maybe and contribute to the universe knowing itself. If it kind of resonates with you and awakens something inside you, then we highly recommend those movies.
Oh, wow. Hold on. One more quote that I just thought of from Sleepers. It kind of makes me feel about that as well. We're all extensions of the same larger purpose, the universe. Robert De Niro, we didn't mention him. He was in Sleepers as well as a really cool priest character who's looking out for these kids, kind of when no one else will. And right in a pivotal moment when a character needs to hear it, he tells him, I'll probably get it slightly wrong, paraphrasing, but it's a quote from the Bible. I'm not really a religious guy, and I don't think you are either, Steve. But
No.
we can all take inspiration from
Exactly.
all kinds of sources. But Robert De Niro, I think, quotes from a passage, uh, what you do to the least of my brethren, you do to me. So just looking at the interconnectedness of all of us, and we're all part of the same universe. So the way you take care of yourself, take care of each other, because things come around, things go around. We're all part of the same larger organism, and it's we all have our own separate debts, but it's kind of all the same debt too. The same way that we pass debt from parents to children, we all kind of share the same debt by being grown up and being born in the same universe.
All right. I think that concludes this little shorter version, shorter episode of Idea Orgy. But that was actually a pretty decent orgy of ideas. I think we put two together. We talked about sleepers and rounders and some higher level concepts. And I hope you enjoyed the show, everybody. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
You can edit that out in post.
Yeah. See ya, everybody.
Jamie will handle it.
Jamie will handle it. All right. See ya.
Future Jamie.
Nice. That was a good one.